Why do most banks offer free checking to hold my money for me? Shouldn't they charge me something for that? Hey everyone, I'm Sayer and this is Integrating Bitcoin. I'm going to teach you some stuff about money that you might not know and how that relates to Bitcoin. But yeah, seriously, have you ever thought about that? Why don't we have to pay a fee generally to hold our money in the bank? They're providing a service for us, right? We got to put our money in the bank and they keep it safe for us, and then we got to use it in the systems and everything like that. So why don't we have to actually pay for that service? If we were to store our stuff, our physical goods, into a storage unit, that costs money, right? Like we're paying a monthly fee probably to pay for the upkeep of the facility, to pay for the security, and to pay for the service that they're providing us. So it makes sense, right? Like we are willing to pay a certain fee to uphold the security of our goods that we're storing with them. So why is that different with a bank? Time for a quick history lesson. So this is Sir Jonathan, and that's my attempt at his fancy hat. So he's from back in the day whenever they used gold as money, and so it was the currency used for purchasing goods and services in the economy. And maybe Sir Jonathan has acquired a decent amount of gold and he doesn't have the security himself to safely store that, because someone could just come to his home and rob him and all of his gold is gone. Or he doesn't feel safe maybe traveling with that. So what he can do is deposit his gold into this new service that got created. Someone who is willing to set up a business that serves as a high security point for storing gold. So this business sets up a vault and allows Sir Jonathan, to store his gold in the vault. And they're going to charge him a little fee for that because they are custodying his gold and providing security and protection for it. And again, in return, he's just paying rent essentially in that space to keep his gold safe. So in return for putting his gold there, though, he does get a receipt. And that's essentially a claim on the gold. And that is redeemable for gold at this vault and also at partner vaults. So maybe you can think of them kind of like banks, right? They might create this partnership to where if Jonathan is traveling somewhere and he wants to store his gold safely without losing it, he could put it in a vault in his local city, get a redemption for gold, claim on his gold, and then travel to the other city that has a partner vault and then redeem his gold there. These gold receipts initially started off as a type of instrument called non-negotiable, which means it can only be redeemed by the person that it's made out to. That's similar to a check that we have today. So if you write out a check to someone, only they can redeem it or deposit it into their bank account. No one else will be able to do that because it's specifically for them. On the other hand, if you have a negotiable instrument, that means anyone can redeem it or use it. And that's similar to our cash system. So I can give you $20 and then you can use that $20 freely for whatever you want to use it for. So that's a negotiable instrument. In the example that we're talking about, at some point they switched over from being non-negotiable instruments to negotiable receipts so that the gold could be redeemed by anyone who held the receipt at that point. So now you might be asking, well, if anybody can redeem this receipt, is Sir Jonathan still liable to pay the rent fee for depositing his gold in the vault? And the answer is no, because they have no way to peg that to the person that deposited it anymore, now that we're dealing with negotiable instruments. So the revenue stream for the companies that created these vaults shifted from like a rent fee into a transaction fee. So now anytime somebody wants to redeem their gold certificate for gold, they pay a small fee, and that's what the revenue stream is for these companies now. So that's just like it is today. If we were to change one currency into another at an exchange, the exchange takes a small fee for providing that service. And and that is how they collect revenue to run their business. Then it eventually got to the place where these gold receipts never really got redeemed that often at the vault. Maybe instead of the merchant redeeming it at the vault, now he's like, well, why should I go through that hassle when I can just pay the fisherman that I buy my fish from to sell at my merchant shack? And then maybe now that this fisherman has some gold receipts, maybe he pays Sir Jonathan for a beer at his pub that he happens to own, maybe. I don't know. So, but the point is, these gold receipts are circulating in the economy now, and there's not a whole lot of redemption happening back at the vault. And remember, that was their revenue stream. And so now they're having to adapt again to change their business model so that they can stay profitable. The keepers of the gold in the vault realized hardly anyone's redeeming gold. So why can't we just issue more receipts for gold than it actually exists? Now, previous to this, it was a 1-to-1 reserve, meaning if you had a receipt, there was an exact amount of gold backing that receipt. This gets into what's called fractional reserve banking, and this is how our current monetary systems work with our banks. So this new model opened up 2 new revenue streams, because what they could do is basically issue way more gold certificates into the market, which then by effect will increase the redemption because they're just more floating around. But since not everyone's redeeming them at the same time, then there's always plenty of gold in the vault. As long as they have enough gold to, supply the redemption, they're good to go. This also opened up lending to where they could now offer loans to people in these notes and charge them an interest rate to pay them back. So in effect, you would deposit, maybe again, Sir Jonathan deposited gold into the vault initially, got a negotiable instrument, and now that gold is being used to back other loans. All right, that ended up being way longer than I thought it would be, but now we're back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, is why are checking accounts free? And it's for the same reason. Whenever you put money into the bank, they are lending your money out and earning a yield on it. So that's why you don't have to pay anything, is because they're actually taking your money. They don't hold it at the bank. The moment that you put it into the bank, they can legally lend it out and give it to someone else and earn a yield on it. That means if everyone were trying to redeem cash from the banks would collapse. And that's what happens in bank failures, is people are trying to get their cash out, and then the banks no longer have enough liquidity to service that, and so they just seize up and collapse because they're so levered by lending people's money out. If you want to know a little bit more about that aspect of it, check out my description. I have a link to my previous day's video that kind of talks about that too. So yeah, give me a like if you got something out of this, and please subscribe for more content.